Hi, it's Kathy from Raven Vintage. Welcome to my craft room. Also, welcome to the Declutter and Organize 2025 collaboration hosted by Cara Brandon from Cara Brandon's Creations and her guest, Dana K. White, best-selling author of the book Decluttering at the Speed of Life. Dana has been sharing her 5-step no mess decluttering system. So for 4 weeks in January, Cara is giving us a prompt, and with those prompts, we are cleaning up our craft rooms and setting ourselves up right for 2025. Week 1 was about the floor space and getting that tidied up, and week 2 we're talking about our workspace. So my video will appear on January 13th, and I'm going to share my workspace with you and a few tips. And before I do that, let's just take a quick tour of my craft room. So let's just take a view from each corner of my craft room. There's my door where I come in. And what you're looking at now is what is sitting behind me when I'm at my craft desk. Here's a view from the opposite corner. You can see a little glimpse of my desk there. And my view. It's January, so you'll see some snow out there. And then from the window, moving over to the right, you can see this corner. And that is my antique bookshelf with my vintage books. I have vintage games on top, some vintage jars with buttons and such. That's my vintage inspiration. So when I'm sitting at my desk, that's my view if I'm not looking out the window. I have some of my completed journals on the wall. And of course, you see my one of my stacks of cigar boxes on the left. Those I use for storage. And then this is the last corner to show you. You can see the top of my chair there. So that you can see is what is directly behind me and what would be to my left when I'm sitting down. I have my printer on top of the shelf and more cubbies. So we're talking about workspaces today, and something that Dana has said that I think is really important is that you need to define your workspace. Your workspace is where you create, where you work, and it is not storage space. It's not a drop zone. It's not a display. This is where you work. So what I have found over time, what is important to me is to have a clear workspace. I have worked in a cluttered workspace. I've worked in a dark vintage style workspace, and more I've been gravitating to white furniture. I think it brightens up the room, and it's a lovely contrast to my vintage items. Recently purchased this IKEA desk. It's the Alex desk off of Facebook Marketplace, and I'm going to show you in a moment just how much I love it. But underneath my desk I have a rolling cart that I just got that thrifting. I have 2 boxes yet to sort, and I'm going to use Dana's method to do that. And then you see my Sunny cycle. That's my exercise method because I cannot use walking as a method of exercise because of a knee injury. So that's how I get some exercise in. I just sit back in my chair and watch some YouTube videos. Probably some of you guys. I'll show you what I really love about this IKEA desk. 2 things. Mostly is the size, so I can have actually one of my granddaughters come in and sit in a chair beside me and we can both craft together. The size is phenomenal, which also includes the size of these 2 large drawers. They're fabulous. I have so much stored in these drawers. The second thing I love about this desk is it has a cable management system here. So this lifts up, and this is something every day I do. So my desk lamp is in here. This is what I would use in the evening or on really gray days like we get here. And then this is also the arm to my, what do you call these things? This holds my phone when I'm recording my reels and my YouTube videos. So this folds in half like you saw. And then I have a base from the floor. It has a metal plate on the bottom, so it's very sturdy. This goes over top of my desk for recording. So this is a great desk for having all that space to do the wide angle YouTube videos, but I really love this little storage system. I think that's fabulous because in the daytime, I'm motivated to come in and start crafting. I can do it from sitting at my desk as well. I don't need to be standing up to do this. So we've talked about the importance of defining your workspace. Another thing I'd like to talk to you about is zones. This is not a new concept. It's just something that comes naturally to all of us. And that's that we like the things that we use the most often closest to us within arm's reach. So for me, that would be my keyboard for my computer and my tool caddy. Then that's basically what I would call zone 1. That's it. That's the most important stuff. And then zone 2 to me is anything secondary to my desktop or my immediate workspace. So that would include things like these cubbies below. You can see I have all my cutting tools there. Oh, and there's a hack for you. That is a lid sorter from my kitchen. So I'm going to have to thrift something else for my lids in my kitchen drawer. But that holds all of my cutting tools. My paper is handy, and it's on one of those plastic shelves similar to the one I have for my scrapbook paper. So that too I would call zone 2. My printer's in zone 2. And then I would also include anything here on my wall to be zone 2. So my stamps are there, I can grab them. Any of my supplies in my cigar boxes, I could grab those as well. And yes, I know what's in every one of them. They're not labeled, but I know that's my rusty bits, and I know this one has my butterflies. You just get to know them over time. And then I would consider my 2 drawers to be zone 2. So I have my writing instruments. I have other tools in here that I use that I don't use as often as the others, like a staple remover and some more, well, you know, the tools that we have. And then I also have in this drawer my rulers, my stamps that I use the most. I have 2 staplers, one for rusty, one for regular staples, my tape, my inks that I use the most, and some washi tape. So now, speaking of zones, what I can do is remove something from zone 2 and bring it up to zone 1 while I need it and while I'm working on a project. So same with my washi tape. And that's what's beautiful about these little separate bins. If I need those, I can bring them up. And then when I'm done crafting, or even done that section of the crafting, that can go away. So you can clean as you go. So again, for zone 2, to me, that's everything back here. And I would consider this to be supplies for the most part. So I have a lot of ephemera back here, large ephemera, all my specialty papers, that sort of thing. And then in the drawers, there are actual supplies. So I have more glue and more paper clips. And then I have all the rest of my stamps and my funky scissors. I have a drawer. And then I have larger tools, my heat gun and my jumbo stapler. And then in this unit, I have stamps that don't fit in the printer's tray on the wall, and the large stamps. And then there's the rest of my inks. And then I have a drawer for electronic stuff. I have a drawer full of tickets and adding machine rolls for snippets. You get the idea. It's basically supplies back here behind me. So that I consider zone 2. I also mentioned that I would include my lace as zone 2 because it's quick and easy access. It's all color coded. I can see it at a glance what I'm looking for, and it's easily accessible. So that to me is a zone 2. And then zone 3 to me is like on the other side of the room, so to speak. I would say my map cabinet, my drawer system here, has old wallpaper, that sort of thing. That is what I would consider to be zone 3. And then all of these here, eventually this is going to be my fabric wall. So all of these cubbies are going to be fabric, and fabric and paints is my goal for on this side, things I don't access as much. Also, another thing would be in zone 3 would be my ink replacements for my printer and my my blade replacements for my cutters. I have my extra glue over here. So these things to me are zone 3. The thing worth mentioning, and this is kind of messy down here, but also zone 3, these cubbies are not easy to get to, but I have my laptop there. That's where everything's wired to. And then a couple more lights down there, some paints I rarely use. And then that bin here, I have a stack of those Victorian albums that I deconstruct. So to me, I don't use those very often, so they are a little harder to get to. So that would be zone 3 also. There's a zone 4 too. So outside of my craft room in my house, there's a few more of these brown bins, and they are like on top of my wardrobe in my bedroom, and there's a couple in the cubby shelf in the living room, and those have things that are like other projects that I want to try someday, and or there's also things like decoupage napkins, that sort of thing. So they're not causing any harm out there. But they're not in the craft room, and I thought I should be honest about that there is a zone 4. So back to speaking about zone 1, these are the tools that I would use. These are my favorites. These are the things I use the most often whenever I am making a junk journal, or even making just ephemera like floating pockets, that sort of thing. Everything I would use is mostly right here. Of course, that excludes anything that I can grab quickly from my drawers and bring up to zone 1. This is just a 4-inch cube that I picked up thrifting. It's nylon and it's woven. It has 2 little compartments in it. So I did just pick this up at the thrift store. I gave probably $2 for it, but I do know that you can find these on Amazon, but I often see these thrifting, so keep your eyes open for those if you want to do something like this. This is how I fill my little 4-inch by 4-inch container that takes up very little room on my desk and fits all of these what I call zone 1 materials. I don't actually call them that, but you know what I mean. So on the back I would put a couple of my clips. On the side I'm going to attach, this is an old debit card that I use for burnishing, and I have an alligator clip. So I'm just going to hold that on the side and clip that on. And then I'm going to take just one of the arms from the alligator clip and fold that down inside. And then I can start filling. So I have fabric scissors, my large scissors, my medium scissors, a hole punch, a box cutter, stick, my precision glue bottle, pencil, a pen, my bone folder, a 6-inch ruler, a nail file, a scoring stylus, a paintbrush, an awl, my pokey tool from my binding kit, a craft knife, a small set of scissors, my precision scissors, some needles for binding. I have one washi tape that is kind of my go-to washi tape. I have my page holder brass bee. And then I have some jumbo paper clips. They just slide inside these bands from the woven nylon. There's one more I can put on the front. And then lastly, I have like a corsage straight pin. That's what I use for clearing out the channel of my glue. And then I have a couple more pins just for whatever. So that is my tool caddy, what I would consider my zone 1, my ride or die. That's my tool caddy. I want to show you one more thing before I let you go. So I'm quite excited about these. I got them from Amazon and they fit perfectly in the little trolley cart under my desk, and that is going to become my ephemera cart. So these you'll find in the kitchen section, not the craft section. They're little stacking snack trays with little carrying handles like this. So if you're crafting on the go, that's perfect. They have 4 snap closures around the edges. Now there's 2 to the pack, and this one has 8 dividers in it, and every one is removable. These are going to be perfect for like my Tim Holtz goodies. So 2 large for the bead containers and 2 small for like my sewing machine box drawers, that sort of thing. And here's the second one. It's just a little different layout. It has 2 aerated type trays in it. But aren't those fabulous? I think they are going to be just absolutely perfect for that. And I love that they fit in the trolley, and that there's still a little bit of room on 2 sides, so I can put my book of ideas in there and a couple of ephemera albums to the side. So these are perfect, and like I said, they stack, so I can also put my sewing machine drawer sitting on top. I have 2 of those, so they can sit side by side on top of these. So I just wanted to share that idea with you. So just to recap, I do use zones. I don't really refer to them or label anything as such, but I have done that my entire working career. I think it just comes naturally that you use the things that you use the most are within arm's reach, and then things that are you would use not as often but fairly often, you can get to very easily. And then items that you don't use very often at all, they are on the furthest perimeter around you. So I hope that makes sense on how I design my storage and how I keep my workspace clear. So thank you again to Dana for the organization tips, and thank you, Cara, so much for inviting me to this collaboration. I have learned a lot, and I've met some new friends through the junk journal community and art community, so thanks. If there's anything in my craft room that you have questions about how I store or what I store, let me know in the comments, and from there perhaps I'll do some follow-up videos. So thank you for joining me today in my craft room, and happy crafting to you all. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.